Hello and welcome to another monthly reading journal update. This month I was more on top of things and added books as I completed them, so this is actually session 1 of 3 for the month. I decided to make the month of June a dark romance theme, so I read only that genre. I mostly read fantasy when I was younger and got into general romance last year, so I wanted to give dark romance a try. The first order of business this month was catching up on the Diamond Devil series that I started in May. I'm also just quickly updating my start of journal pages and trackers with the details from up to the point of filming this session. I've shortened this part of the edit for the other 2 sessions of the video, but I kept a bit more of it in now for anyone who hasn't seen last month's video. If you would like more explanation on how each page works, you can find that in the May wrap-up reading journal video that I will link in the top right corner. We are all done with those pages, so let's flip to June. At the time of filming this session, I had finished 3 books, Drown in You, Devil You Know, and I Will Break You. So I'm just adding the start and end dates for each of these books to my calendar. I'm learning that I really need some more Tombow colour variation, as I'm finding it harder and harder to match to the book cover. But unfortunately they are expensive at Officeworks, so I probably won't get any until I do another Journal Say or Stationery Pal order where they are sold for a lot cheaper. Spoiler alert, this is the only time this month I will read something off my TBR. Whoops. I've quickly set up the borders and now it's time for the review sections. The first book I read in July was Drown in You, which is book 2 in the Diamond Devil series by Harmony West. It is a interconnected standalone dark hockey romance series. Book 2 follows Sienna and Luke, who have been online friends for 5 years and finally meet, but he's been hiding his identity so she doesn't know it. Oh, and they are step-siblings. Because they meet at like 20 years old, it doesn't really count as a step-sibling trope, but it's definitely used as a part of the plot. I liked book 2 more than book 1, and it was nice getting to know the overall friend group more, but I didn't love how it ended, so I gave it 3.75 stars. Next was book 3 in the same series, Devil You Know. This book is about Juliet, Sienna's best friend, and Trey, a villain you meet in book 1 who has come back to campus. They are both very dark in mindset and sexual preferences, and Juliet tries and keeps failing to avoid the temptation she feels towards being with Trey. This was definitely my favourite in the series so far. It was a quote from this book that introduced me to the series as a whole, and I feel like it had the most well-rounded plot apart from the romance out of all 3. I gave it 4 stars overall, and I'm excited for book 4, Die For You, which will be a Why Choose, and it's coming out early next year. Next, I started a new duology, The Pen Pals Duet by Gigi Sticks, starting with book 1, I Will Break You. This duology follows Amethyst and her death row fiancé Zero, who starts haunting her from the grave after she misses their wedding before he gets the electric chair, wanting her to be terrorised and suffer for what she did. I was confused to where the plot was going for like 60% of this story, but in a good way, and the way it ended and set up book 2 was so crazy that I couldn't wait to read the next one and find out what happens. Some of the ways that the sex scenes were written sounded quite cringy, but I enjoyed the plot and so gave it a 5 stars overall. We're now on to session 2 for June books, where we have another 3 books to add to the journal. This bookshelf tracker is starting to look a little boring with how much fantasy and romance I read. I really should try and branch out more in the second half of this year, but will I? Probably not. Knowing me, I'm nothing if not self-aware. This page is a little redundant because I have it all in Notion, but also it looks so satisfying as it's filling up. I didn't add the Pen Pals Duet to this series tracker page as I've already finished both books now, but I do add the 3rd book to the Into Darkness series, which was teased at the end of Caught Up, as well as marking off Caught Up as read, of course. I have nothing to add to the world map again. I really need to work on that too. And I'm just updating the pages read really quickly. I actually have read some more that I can cross off on the romance trope bingo. Caught Up was a second chance romance, and The Mercenary and the Mortician was an romance, so I'm just crossing them off now. I only have 10 left to fill out, so I hope I can get through it all this year. The alphabet challenge is also going really well for being only in June. Hopefully I won't have to do too much searching and reading of random books to complete it, but I do only have the hard letters left, sadly. Moving on to the June pages. Another 3 books being added this session: Caught Up, I Will Mend You, and The Mercenary and the Mortician. Caught Up I actually listened to the audiobook on Spotify because that was how I read Lights Out, and the other 2 I read on my Kindle. I definitely need to read more physical books. I have neglected them a lot since I got my Kindle at the end of last year. Once again, we are stuck with the lack of Tombow colour variations, but it definitely does help to keep the calendar colours consistent with the theming, I guess. Our first book being added to the review spread is Caught Up, Book 2 of the Into Darkness series by Navessa Allen. Lights Out, which is book 1, got really popular, especially as an audiobook, and I loved it when I read it in May, so I was really looking forward to this book. Caught Up is a second chance romance with Junior, who we met in book 1, and Lauren, who is a popular sex worker. After he fucked it up the first go around, Junior has to work hard to prove to Lauren that he deserves this second chance, and she teaches him more about himself than he ever expected. Overall, I liked this story, but it wasn't as good as Lights Out, but I did appreciate that they got a non-binary person to voice her roommate in the audiobook rather than having one of the main characters voice them. I gave it 3.7 stars, which you'll see later when I stick down the cover and star rating printouts. At the same time, I was reading book 2 of the Pen Pals duet, I Will Mend You. This continues on from where book 1 left off, and the change in pace and plot was drastic, but in a way that I really enjoyed. I Will Mend You was almost completely about the plot happening outside their romance and how they navigate their relationship around what happens, and it felt like a very mature relationship, which was ironic given the crazy nature of what they do to each other in book 1. I also gave book 2 4 stars, but I did rate it slightly higher on the core pile system. Lastly for this session, I started a new duology, The Silent Hollow by Alexandra St. Pierre and Alina May. The authors each wrote one book, and book 1, The Mercenary and the Mortician, was written by Alexandra. This book is about Ryan, a mortician who can see ghosts, and Callum, who is a hired mercenary who is haunted by all the people that he has killed. Their romance is an absolute wild ride, combined with outside plot trying to tear them apart. But I did enjoy how their relationship was written and how they supported each other through a lot of different things happening throughout the plot. I gave this 4.5 stars, and I'm definitely looking forward to the relationship of book 2 that was teased in here. Here I am finally adding the book covers and star ratings. Don't ask me why I did them all at the end like this. I am but future me who cannot answer for past me's very confusing choice of setup. I also didn't have Caught Up printed out yet, so we will come back to that in a minute. So far this has been a good reading month, seeing as I'm trying a new style of genre that I haven't read much of before. So now let's head over to our last session of the month. I apologise if the quality drastically changed just now. I got a new camera and I'm still figuring out how best to film with it, but here we are in the last update session of the month. Just the usual start of journal page updating with another 3 books to add, bringing the total for June to 9 books read. I also hit 60 books read in the first half of 2025, getting me to exactly halfway through my reading goal for the year of 120 books. It looks so nice when it's all complete like this. I started 2 new series, so I'm just adding them to the series tracker now. First is the Viper series, which is another dark hockey romance series, but definitely a lot darker than Diamond Devils is. I enjoyed book 1, but I feel like book 2 and 3 are couples I'm more interested about, so I'm excited for them to come out. Then I started the Alabaster Penitentiary series, which is a dark prison romance. This is, in fact, me using the book cover to remember how to spell penitentiary, don't mind me. I also put the boxes in the wrong place, so just covering that up. This series is planned to be 6 books, however only 4 are currently released, but book 1 definitely got me hooked into the story of the overall series, even if each book is an interconnected standalone about different relationships. I'm also adding book 2 of Vipers and book 5 of Alabaster Pen to my release radar, as they both come out this year in December and August respectively, so I want to make sure I remember to get them when they do. I can't believe I'm adding a 3rd book to December 2nd. Is there something special about that date in the book publishing world? Let me know. It also sucks that you can't pre-order a KU title, it will just purchase it, which I found out the hard way. With diving into the Renaverse, I actually get to mark off another country on this spread. Ireland is tucked into the binding, but it is now coloured in. Filling out the rest of June, I have yet to miss a day of reading this year, which I'm actually really proud of. But there's nothing new for the Romance Trope Bingo or Alphabet Challenge, so we will promptly move on. I will come back to the monthly stat pages once I finish the last of the reviews. I like updating my journal once I've finished 3 books because it means I just complete a single page of reviews and it makes it neat and logical in my brain to remember. This time I read Make Me, Beautiful Venom and Distorted. And we actually get to add some colour to this calendar with the purple Tombow coming in to match Distorted's cover. Oh look, there's me realising what a terrible job I did of my TBR this month. Whoops. I love the completed calendar every month, and here you go, Caught Up is not bare anymore. So first I continued with the Silent Hollow duet, reading Make Me, which was by Alina May this time. It follows Logan, a murderer, Ronan, a cop turned murderer, and Dakota, a cop and will he turn murderer? Find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. Sorry, yes. Anyway, it is a MMM choose with characters that you meet in book 1 briefly. It was quite quirky and enjoyable, but the plot felt a little rushed, so I gave it 3.75 stars. Then I read book 1 of the Vipers series by Rena Kent, Beautiful Venom, which follows Dahlia trying to join a secret society to find out who hurt her sister, and Kane, the captain of a school's hockey team, who helps her join. But why? I haven't read Rena before, so this was all very new to me, and I enjoyed the mixture of romance and plot, so I gave it 3.75 stars. Lastly for this month, book 1 of Alabaster Penitentiary by Nyla Kay, Distorted. All her warnings at the start of the book are right. Don't read spoilers of what happens, because I didn't, and it made the plot twist so much better because it wasn't what I was expecting at all. It really turned the story upside down, and I'm excited to read the rest of the series because we got so many small crumbs of all the other relationships to come. I gave it 3.75 stars. Now that all the reviews are done, it's time to finish off with the monthly stats. My top rated book for June was The Mercenary and the Mortician, which got added to the book bracket, but it only beat out Wolf King from April in ratings. Then I filled out the yearly stats page, which takes a bit of time as I don't count things like countries or how many challenges, goals I complete throughout the month, so I have to figure it all out now. Then I use May's stats page to copy the layout into June, as I can never remember how it works, so just flip back and forth while setting it up. Maybe I should devise an easier layout for me to create each month, but I also like how this one looks and hate change. I read 9 books and 4,101 pages this month, with my favourite book we already mentioned and my least favourite book, Beautiful Venom, with an average rating of 3.92 stars. I read 2 out of the 6 books on my TBR, and on average it took me 4 days to finish a book. I read 100% Romance, a pretty even spread of page numbers ranging from in the 200s to in the 700s. That was The Mercenary and the Mortician, which is crazy because I read it in 2 days and it did not feel that long at all. And 89% I read on my Kindle, with 1 being an audiobook. Ever since I got a ruler that has a lot of different size circles on it, making this page has been a lot easier, but I still have to fight every month with trying to get the Tombows to colour in nicely and not streaky. I've lost the fight once again. See you in July, Tombows. I don't know if there are any other stats I should add to these monthly pages. Let me know in the comments below what you have in your reading journal or you think I should put in mine. I've just realised that I wrote 3.5 below Beautiful Venom, not 3.75, which is the rating I actually gave it. I'm terribly sorry, Rena. I've fixed that now. I'm now just adding some decoration that matches the start of month spread to tie everything together. It was a bit difficult to decide what to do, and I was a bit burnt out from doing this for so long, so I just put 2 of the tapes on the top and bottom and called it done. It's not terrible, but because I put in the information for the page first, I'm always limited with the space I have for decoration, so this will have to do. Cutting out the heading is also the bane of my existence, but I've done it to myself, so I have no one to blame but me, really. It did come together nicely in the end, even if it's a bit basic, and now that it's complete, it's time to set up for July. I wanted to do a green leafy theme for July, so I'm just pulling out some stationery that matches that to play around and see what I like. This seems like a good reason to use these green and gold papers, so just looking through all of them to find a design that I think will look nice with this month's title on top. I definitely prefer the more subtle one rather than the arch, and the title fits a lot nicer, so I chose this one. Next, I'm quickly drawing out my calendar so I know how much room I have to decorate. I make my calendar 3.5 grid spaces wide and tall so that I have plenty of room for up to 4 books being read at once if for some reason I'm ever doing that. I'm then choosing between my 2 Vine PET tapes, and I definitely like this more simple design more over the fence one. Just putting some basic green washi underneath first to give it an anchor, but also just to add a bit more colour to the page. I learnt this from Erin Smith here on YouTube, and it definitely is such an easy and great way to tie a design together. Now I'm just adding the vines on top. I found this a bit difficult because it was hard to line up the clear PET edge with the edge of the page, but it's mostly straight-ish. I made sure to really push in the tape into the binding to try and avoid any issues there, but I don't have one of those helpful plastic scraper things that you can push in really hard with. I also need to get that next time I shop at Stationery Pal or Journal Say. I like how this top and bottom design is looking, definitely something I will likely repeat in the future with other stationery combinations that I have. I'm adding in the days of the week to the calendar as well as each date. I add little green dots where I'm going to write the numbers, again just to anchor them to something and have them stand out from the books I'll put in throughout the month. I wasn't sure if the green pen would show up on the green Tombow, so I just quickly tested it on a spare piece of paper and we are good to go. Now I'm just going to cut out the July title and add it to this green paper. I made the stupid decision to cut it completely out with no white border, which was 1, very difficult to do with this font at this size, and 2, makes it harder to see on the green paper, especially on camera, but what's done is done and I just went with it. Trying to stick them in the centre was also quite difficult, but it came out passable. I then proceeded to have a fight with my almost empty glue stick, but finally get the paper stuck down in the centre-ish of the page. I missed getting glue on some of the corners, so I'm just quickly fixing that up as well. I had nothing plain green to use, so I'm just making my TBR out of this craft grid tape. I'm using the same green pen to try and tie it into the theme a little more. I have another 6 books on my TBR for July, and I should get through most of them as 3 are from the Alabaster Pen series, which I want to catch up on. After sticking it down, it felt a bit like it was standing out from everything else, so I added some more of that plain green washi tape to 2 of the corners to try and tie it a little more into the spread. I do this trick a lot when I feel like something is floating, and it helps most of the time just to ground it into the spread a little more. And that's my July cover spread done and the end of this video. I had a really good time reading dark romance this month and will definitely continue with it into the future. Click on this pop-up to watch last month's reading journal video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!